Right, it should be recorded. Hello and welcome back. This is a continuation from what I was originally broadcasting live. It was labelled the FTP live table for one. I'll put links between both videos. Obviously this is now vlogged, recorded, but I still don't have any notes, and it will just be me streaming at you. But for whatever reason, YouTube is having a difficult time being able to do what it supposedly does. It would not allow the broadcast to continue, even though in the Google Room window that you see, that was functioning fine. It was saying it was broadcasting, it was live, but YouTube kept insisting that we'll be right back, we'll be right back, we'll be right back. And then when I clicked end broadcast, because I thought to try ending it and reopening it, tried to end the broadcast, YouTube was literally not able to end the broadcast. It kept giving me an error message saying failed to end broadcast. So the only choice I was left with, obviously, is to end the call, which closes the room. So therefore I would have been forced to start the whole process again, potentially to have it all just blocked again. So I thought, no, and as far as I could see, there was only one person watching live, listening. Hello. I thought it's not going to hurt for me to record it and then upload it rather than try and broadcast it live. The idea of broadcasting it live was to add a bit more authenticity in a way, to show that this was just live, just me talking. It hasn't been messed with in any way at all, whatever. But yeah, YouTube struggling to do what it does. So here we are, continuing from where I was, which was talking about the little play environment, like it was a little theatre. TV is theatre. But that little environment that they'd framed what they were presenting to you. And at the time when it cut off, I was referencing Brrand himself and the fact that he is good at what he does. He's a good entertainer. And that's, what's made him successful. People want to listen to him. They enjoy watching his shows. They enjoy listening to him. So that's what he's good at doing. And it did seem very much to me that that whole way it was framed in that manner was enabling what he said, to give him the floor. That's what Paxman did repeatedly. He, at one point where he says, "Oh, you are a frivolous man," and Brrand misses his cue because he's too busy off chasing this one thought thread that he was iterating. So Paxman had to repeat it. He said, "Oh, you're a frivolous man." In other words, there's your cue, get in. It was very much presented in that manner. So the framing of that, and as I say, if you watch it again, maybe with this kind of observation, you might see more of those things that I was trying to point out and wave a flag at. The reason I uploaded the BBC brand of slime was to make that point. This is coming via the BBC, and look at how it has been framed, the context of how it's been presented to you, and what exactly is being presented to you. That you don't vote, you don't support the current status quo paradigm. Why is that? Blah 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 blah. Oh, so what you want then is a revolution. You want to destroy the current paradigm, state system paradigm. Revolution, revolution, revolution. And Brrand is the actor, the role that draws people in by saying the things that they want to hear, that they all feel like, that they all agree. And then the scorpion tail comes in at the end to push them in one particular direction. Oh, you don't agree, do you? You don't like it, you're not happy with these politicians and bankers, you don't like what you're going to do? Have a revolution, burn it all down. Burn it down. Go on, light the paper. And that's what they want. So as I say, I'm not attacking Brrand himself. I feel no need to. He is what he is, and yes, there are all the various connotations about his life, his career, what he does and how he does it. Yeah, that to me is just part and parcel of what they've set up here. The timing of it is oh so convenient, oh so convenient. Yeah, I think as well it was only within a day or two after this interview was aired that Cameron comes out and declares war on the journalists. This is all very, very much a campaign, folks. This is all deliberate marketing, and when they are deliberately marketing these kind of memes, perspectives, topics to you, then you should be treading very carefully. It's all great and wonderful, yes, that some of this stuff is being brought to public attention and they are potentially sowing seeds, but it is the kind of fertiliser that they are then attempting to spray all over this environment. As I mentioned earlier, there is this little time gap interruption in these bits of video. But as I mentioned earlier in the other video, I've seen quite a lot of comments and posts and talk about, and this has been common for the last few years, talk about the violent side of things, the destructive, tear it all down side of things, the ordo ab chaos. This has been repeated again and again. I've talked about it in the past. Them bringing people to this point of, so you're so frustrated, you need to blow it all up, burn it down, blow it up, burn it down, so that we can then build the new world for you. And the new ideology will be based on one of utilitarianism, disguised in a happy face fascism, happy fascism, where the unelected bureaucratic technocrats will have their fingers on the buttons and levers, and there will be so much bureaucracy and red tape and legislation such that everyone is either a criminal or mentally unstable, such that anyone can, at the wish of a pen, and this now will be a digital pen even, it will be the push of a button, somebody can be taken away or disappeared. In entire groups of people this can be done to, and again, this is a repetition from history that happens again and again and again as part of this process, and is a exemplar, a signifier of what is going on here, folks. This is not, it's not a recession, it's a robbery, and people need to see it in that way. If they keep deluding themselves into believing that, oh, it's just the way it is, times are hard, things are difficult, you've got to compete, you've got to accept lower wages, you've got to do more hours because times are hard, it's a recession. It's not a recession, they are stealing from you. And as part of that, that's just in reference to the financial side of things, they are stealing your labour, your energy, and in doing so it is enabling them to build a much more tightly controlled setup. More consolidation, more centralised power, more tyranny. The environment, the framing, the portrayal of that interview, and why, for me, this was apparently needing to be said, was because, yes, he says some things that are great, and yes, it's great that these things are being brought to mainstream media attention, but look at how they present it and how they push in this particular direction. They misdirect and attempt to capture and take that energy to where they want it to be, through that Phoenix Gate, to get the effect that they want. We saw this in exactly the same manner, in exactly the same way with the Occupy movement. You go back through my videos, the reason I've left, well, there's a playlist on there, there's just a big long stream of lots of videos to do with Occupy, where, events, live streams from events and people talking about them and stuff like that. And the reason I've left that there is so that if you are interested in this kind of aspect and a lot of this side of what's going on at the moment, then it's there as reference material for people, so that you can see how this bubbles up and how it becomes steered and co-opted and pushed in certain directions, and people are planted in deliberately to feed these memes into the conscious mind, to steer the mass consciousness, to steer the herd in whatever particular direction they want, which can include getting them to like the blue touch paper. The violent revolution that, as we've seen in previous iterations of this system, the revolution, they tear it all down, they think they're winning, they think they're bringing it all back to the people, they destroy a lot of the infrastructure and kill off a lot of the people that they're complaining about, whether they be bankers or aristocracy or whatever. They kill off the intelligentsia, they destroy whole volumes of knowledge and information and perspectives. You know, think about the way older cultural perspectives, older knowledge has been systematically destroyed over the centuries. And that's not even part and parcel of the revolution effect. But the revolution effect is their ordo ab chaos attempt to give them, if not a completely clean slate, but to give them a nice flat building ground so they can start laying the new foundation stones for the new pyramid. And it's done again and again and again. So, just thinking, have I sort of touched on stuff to do with the Paxman Brrand interview, and I wanted to put out there, be aware of the fact that he is very much an iconic figure, and in that manner he could be being used, whether consciously by his participation in it consciously, or whether he's been subconsciously manipulated and steered and handled and whatever else to do and say these kind of things. Possibly. I don't know in that respect, so it is just a speculative observation. But the manner in which he is presented to the public, the fact that he is quite happy to be there in that role, as I said, he is the entertainer, he's good at it, people enjoy his performances, they're quite happy to pay to go and see him and buy his books and blah blah blah, so he earns a good living at it. He's got however many homes and he's worth however much millions of pounds. He's quite happy doing what he's doing at the moment. If he is genuinely trying to help people become more aware, then that's great. I'm not going to take his stuff out of context and say just because he said egalitarian socialist system that means everything else he says is bunkum or whatever, or that by saying such he is deliberately trying to push people into that. But it is somewhat dubious to me at how he allows himself to be misrepresented in that kind of way, taking part in that very interview and allowing it to be what it was and the way it was. That to me makes it seem a lot more like he may very well be consciously aware of the fact that this stuff will be utilised by those people as propaganda and control and co-opting, etc. So, in that fashion sense, to me is something to be aware of, and again it's another one of those filters to apply to this presentation, this play. This guy fits the demographic oh so perfectly of the current younger generation, not necessarily children, but children would obviously follow his stuff because of the fact that he's a celebrity. And this may sound ageist, but younger people tend to be more focused towards things such as that, which are to do with social peer group interaction. They want to look the same as him because they, in one way or another, to one degree or another, idolise him as something they wish to replicate. So they look like him and dress like him and talk like him and act like him and want to buy this. It's the same with any kind of celebrity. And it seems as people get older, maybe because you see these things happen again and again and you see these people come and go, it becomes more obvious that you shouldn't be so distracted by that side of them. Listen to what they're actually saying instead, rather than just taking it as it's presented. Think about the context of what they're talking about. Yeah, in that respect, be aware of that fact. He suits a demographic oh so perfectly, and for the BBC propaganda at the moment, it fits very nicely into what they were trying to push into the public consciousness. From that point, the only other things I'll add is like the timing of all this is oh so convenient. You got the People's Voice is going to be starting up within a couple of weeks. The articles that have been put out there, you know, they're so deliberate to me, blatantly obvious that this is you need to choose sides, folks. You better choose a side. You're either with us or against us. Are you with us? If you're with us, then you've got to support the system. Obey the flag. Ignorance is strength. That is basically what they've been saying to people with this campaign. Are you trying to destroy this system? Are you? Go on then, like the blue touch paper. If not, shut up and get in line. That's what they're saying to people. You're fed up of these tens of thousands of people dying after they've had their benefits changed or taken away from them because of this exploitative, parasitic ATOS assessment system, are you? Are you? Then either like the blue touch paper or shut up and get on with it. That's what they're saying to people. So, for those of you out there that claim you are awake or aware or whatever, and you went headlong running along with this Brrand interview going, look at it, listen to what he's saying, it's great, whoa, it's in the mainstream, it's on the mainstream, everybody, we're winning, we've won the revolution's coming. You really need to take a step back and think a bit more about what you're saying. I myself have talked a lot about revolution, and I feel, hopefully, if you've bothered to spend the time actually listening to the entirety of what I say when I've talked about that kind of stuff, I have continuously reiterated what we're talking about here is a revolution of consciousness. Not a revolution as in go and burn down Parliament. If you think that doing actions like that are actually going to change anything, then you're still too far back down the path and you've got a lot more stuff to work your way through yet. I'm not saying that to be elitist or to separate myself in some manner, not at all. We're all moving down this path together. But if you're still allowing that delusion to make you think that you can change the world by destroying what's here now, it ain't going to work that way, because all you're going to do is just replace one tyrant with another. You'll just change the faces that were at the top of the pyramid. What we're talking about really is a revolution of consciousness of people to make the mass consciousness more aware of itself and how it affects itself as well as the rest of the planet. You know, if you don't want people starving to death on a rubbish tip in a third world country because that's the only way they can survive, then stop enabling the system that makes that happen. You know, I know it sounds so simplistic, ridiculously simplistic, counterintuitively simplistic, but it is that simplistic. So when it comes down to it, if you don't like the way this system is operating, then start doing something that does not enable this system but still enables you and yours and the community and the society you live in to be what you want it to be the change, to change it to be what you want it to be. I know, it does sound so simplistic and obvious, but it is that way. By you being involved and taking part in that, you will help build a change. If you just go along with destroy, just like, as I say, you look at those previous revolutions, it's ended up exactly the same, hasn't it? And during that transition period, millions of people die. Millions upon millions of people die during that burning through the Phoenix Gate. Gets rid of the dead wood. Yeah, that's their attitude to it, utilitarian attitude to it. Get rid of the dead wood, burn it all off. And that's what they're trying to do now at the moment. There is a change happening, there is a revolution going on, but it is not the kind of revolution that they are used to or that they want, unless you let them take it that way. This is why they've been so heavy on the control of information, because this is what it all comes back to, folks. The control of information, control of knowledge, control of communication. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that I wanted to say that I forgot to mention, because I'll try and wrap this up so that it's only approximately another half an hour to add to the previous hour. Thank you if you've got this far. There are plenty of people out there talking about this kind of stuff and being aware of and being awake to this kind of stuff, this kind of information, and they are still optimistic and positive and working on stuff and working towards changes. Don't get dragged in by the fear porn, because that's just what it's there to do. It's fear porn hooks to pull you in and keep you doing little circles, chasing your own tail, thinking there's nothing you can do, to make you feel disempowered, to vampirically steal that power from you so you become disenabled. You know, they don't need to physically fight you and remove you anymore. Because of the control over communication and the interaction of information, all they need to do is individualise you to such a point that you become isolated. And whether you help them along with that by falling for the fear porn and thinking there's nothing you can do, it's all hopeless, oh, the world's going to end, oh no! Yeah, see, even the cat knows. Come here. Come here. No, she wants to go out, obviously, so that is a good time for me to wind it up. Yeah, there's plenty of channels, there's plenty of information, there's plenty of good websites. You can be making a difference and making a change. So don't be quickly falling on the bandwagon, the Brrand wagon. Don't be too quick to jump on that Brrand wagon. Yeah, another side note there is you see just how much people piled onto that. A lot of the monetisers piled onto it, re-uploading it just so they could earn some money over the interest of people wanting to listen to Brrand doing this interview. Do you know what I mean? Even bad PR is good PR for them. And it is sowing seeds that are unhelpful. They are weeds that we... in a holistic fashion, I wouldn't say we need to get rid of, but we need to not control, but limit their growth. Again, it's up to people what they choose to do and the path they are on and following. But when these weeds become, I feel, obviously detrimental to the whole that is the organism that you are part of, then maybe it's about time you started, you know, not allowing those weeds to get as big as they have gotten. There was something else that I wanted to go over. It's been in my mind recently as these things do, as you know, multiple thoughts at the same time bubbling away at different levels, and this is one that's been gradually formulating for me and has become more coherent. Maybe it's stuff that other people have already put out there, I don't know. I've sort of seen it here and there, but again, it's one of those kind of concepts that is spread in various places but not maybe directly said, and that could just be a limitation of stuff that I've looked at or read or listened to or whatever. I've talked before about the idea of the toroidal field of energy that you are, that process that is the flow of energy around your body, the electromagnetic energy that is your body, that is your functioning mind, because the brain is basically an enabler of the electromagnetic activity that is your mind and your conscious and unconscious thought processes, etc., memories and everything like that. that electromagnetic field, again, some of this might sound a bit Captain Obvious. It depends on the kind of stuff you've looked at before. But as a simplistic example, if you get an apple and cut it in half, and you look at the shape of the apple, you've got roughly that kind of toroidal, the half section of a toroidal field effect. When you expand on that thought, because I feel, arguably, there is no outer end to it, there's just different expansions of those field lines of the energetic flow of force. When you look at that cross section, what you actually see is the infinity of movement of energy from one side to the other, from left to right, up to down. And those field lines, those force, those sorry if that seemed like I was trying to hypnotise. It wasn't at all. I was just trying to demonstrate that infinity symbol, the Mobius loop type flow of energy, continuous flow of energy. And the circles within circles, as I mentioned right at the start when I was doing this broadcast this evening with the live section, circles within circles, you look at that cross section of field lines of the energy that is you see those circles within circles, ever increasing, ever decreasing, both directions. People who are more embedded into the three-dimensional, the physical, they're more empirical, they're more attuned to the 3D reality, revolve in the closer circles. So if they're very much attuned to their physical desires and needs, they're really quite tightly in to that little revolution. Revolution. And yeah, it is the infinity movement of energy around those toroidal field lines. As you expand your awareness and expand your consciousness, I know that's a bit of a generalized amorphous meaning, as you push the boundaries on your own awareness and you get those blinkers to move further and further out, you become more and more aware of that widening environment that you exist within. That is the process of your awareness of your spirit, your consciousness, which includes your subconscious, just the sentience that transceives through this physical form, moves a step out. The reason I wanted to mention this is because part of one of the conversations I've been listening to, they're talking about the whole terminology of the word revolution and the fact that you're just repeating a circle, you're repeating a cycle. As I talked about, they've repeated this thing again and again and again, the use of this in capturing that energy and utilising it to create the new system that they want. As you revolve around those little circles of energy, and then you expand your awareness a bit, and you basically step from that circle up the spiral to the next one, so your expansion has just gone to a much wider line of energy and awareness. And each time you expand your consciousness, if you actually look at the flower of life kind of geometry of what would be going on inside that toroidal force, as you step to a more outer circle, it's actually bringing you closer in to the central vortex that is the centre point singularity within the centre of the toroidal shape. And each time you step, you go onto a line of energy that is much, much, much bigger. So the circles within circles expands, and the time it takes for you to come back round becomes longer and longer. And that applies in a multi-dimensional way, in a fractal sense, in many ways, and is demonstrated in nature in a fractal sense of how the physicality emanates itself along the lines that represent the fractal, the energetic fractal. Circles within circles, repetitions in history. Some things happen more readily day by day, they're on a smaller circle. Other things take much longer to come back around and repeat. Karma, what you put out comes back, the infinity line of force. Even though you're on this one particular circle over here, you put the stuff out via that line of circle, it will eventually come back round to you. You put it out, it comes back round, circles within circles, and then, as I say, in many different multi-dimensional ways, you can see that emanated in existence, in us, in you. Hopefully that made sense to you folks. I'll leave it there because otherwise I will waffle into more esoterica. Take care folks, please, keep talking, keep debating, keep getting involved, keep optimistic, keep loving, keep laughing and enjoying and experiencing without ignoring or being unaware of or feeling disempowered by the bad stuff, the negative stuff. Keep working on it, keep pushing that boulder up the hill like Sisyphus. You will hopefully eventually get to see a different side of the boulder. Yes, I'll leave it at that. Take care folks, thank you, keep evolving. I'm going to upload this straight away, I ain't going to mess with it, just upload it as it is and add it as a continuation to the previous one. I will start putting links into the info box. They might not be there straight away, but I'll get them in there and add links to the other video and whatever. So yes, take care folks, keep evolving. And remember, note I say evolving, not revolving. Go round the circle and find where you can step up. Evolving. Take care folks.